Hey, how y'all doing? This is Mongo Slade, and today we're going to talk about Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt. So we had this. What was suggested to us, was promoted to us rather, is that Randy Orton's going to go to the Firefly Funhouse this week on Raw. Through the magic of rewrites, we ended up getting a change in what was going on here. So Randy Orton comes out. He talks about darkness. You know that he wears his darkness on his sleeve. He doesn't need to wear a mask, and he says that he doesn't fear the Fiend. He has no fear for the Fiend. He's gonna knock on the Funhouse door, and he's gonna dare Bray Wyatt to let him in. So then Bray Wyatt, Funhouse music plays. Bray Wyatt shows up. This is of course, and Bray Wyatt says, "Well, Alexa's not here." Because you were mean to her last week, so she decided not to show up. And, then Randy Orton challenged Bray Wyatt to a match and says that I want to fight you right now, tonight. And then we get this game show segment. At least I think the game show segment probably came afterwards. But the game show segment happens. The Let's Get Randy. And he's got this really bad wig on. And he's got one of those long microphones like you see on game shows in the 70s. And he's talking about like how are we going to punish Randy Orton tonight? And he got the cruxes, and he got the friendship frog's corpse. These are prizes for the person who can guess how they're going to best punish Randy Orton tonight. And then the three puppets, and I couldn't even make out what Mercy the Buzzard said because he had the thing in his mouth. And all I know is Rambling Rabbit said something to the effect of that the Fiend and Randy Orton should sit down and talk about their feelings. And then Bray Wyatt said, "That's sick. That is disgusting." So I like that. I like that. That was cool. Later in the show, Randy Orton actually did knock on the door of the Firefly Funhouse, and Rambling Rabbit opened the door and says that Bray Wyatt can't wait to see him, and he'll see him in the ring. So, he literally knocked on the Funhouse door and didn't barge in, but a puppet opened the door, and the puppet was in the middle of the damn doorway too. So it was like somebody actually had their hand. It wasn't like the puppet was way down on the floor, which is how I would have did it. I personally would have had it, because he did say down here, dude, and Randy turned around and the puppet was like right there, like somebody had stuck their hand out the door. When in reality, the puppet should have been like all the way down on the floor, so like Randy could look and had to look all the way down at the puppet. That would have been cool. That would have been funnier. But Rambling Rabbit was just dangling in the air because apparently he can fly. This is so fucking silly. And he relays the message that Bray Wyatt is going to see him in the ring. So we get the match. Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt, who looks absolutely massive in normal clothes. I don't know if it was because his clothes were maybe a little too snug, but he looked fucking huge in these clothes. I was like, God, he's a big dude, man. Like his back and shoulders and everything. Like he's a big dude. But they had a fairly good match. I enjoyed it. This is pretty much the best shit on the show. As far as I'm concerned, the Wyatt Orton match was good. There was a little piece of, Bray Wyatt going to commercial. Yowie, wowie, we'll be right back. Right into the commercial, right into the microphone, which I thought was pretty cool. Wyatt plays the Mankind sort of character very well. When he's on defense, he's getting beaten up. He's kind of laughing and smiling and enjoying it, And then we did some camera magic because, Orton and Wyatt was going back and forth. It was pretty 50-50. And I said to myself, I was like, man, it would really suck if Randy Orton just beats this guy right now. Even though it would be like, well, it's not that big of a deal because it's not the Fiend. It's just Bray Wyatt. But I still would have said, like, man, that would suck. But then I thought to myself, if he's having this 50-50, 10-minute match with Wyatt, he's probably going to get squashed by the Fiend. And then I was going back and forth with that. And then RKO, boom. And I was like, oh, no. They're just about to really beat Bray Wyatt on TV like this. And then the lights start to flicker. And I was like, okay. They're about to do some camera magic. And like, boom. Everything went dark. And then when the red lights came on, the Fiend was under Randy Orton. So they literally used camera magic. I thought Alexa Bliss was going to come out or something. They literally pulled an Impact. They had to. You literally had to. How did you do that? I don't believe Raw was live. Was Raw live this week? Because I don't understand how Raw was live and he was able to get away with that. Now, he probably had it under his clothes. Like he probably just put the mask on and had his, Fiend gear under his clothes, which, probably didn't take that long to do. But it was really cool because he had hit the Bray Wyatt with the RKO and he had pinned him. And then when the lights came back on, the Fiend was just in a pinning position as if he had transformed while Randy Orton was still atop him. And then he put him in a mandible claw and choked him out, which was okay. It was camera magic. I've had my fill of camera magic, but it was a fun segment to prepare us for the match between Randy Orton and the Fiend. Because Randy Orton is saying how he doesn't fear the Fiend. He is not worried about the Fiend. But now we find out that the Fiend is not just after Randy Orton, but he's willing to appear anywhere. And without Alexa Bliss for them to try to tease, what is Randy Orton going to do? And I like that Randy Orton is not, pissing his pants afraid of the Fiend. That was my whole thing about Cameron Grimes and Dexter Lumis. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't create heat. That's not heat at all. Like, this creates heat because Randy Orton believes in himself that he can take the Fiend. He's a bit delusional in that way because the Fiend is straight up. He's magic. And theoretically, what happens to John Cena should just happen to Randy Orton. If we're being honest, he should just get gobbled up by the Fiend. Theoretically, I know that Randy Orton was really, really hot around WrestleMania and SummerSlam, and he's been doused in cold water since because of the whole shit with Drew McIntyre and The Miz and all the shit they had going on. And I know that, just having the Fiend eat him is kind of a buzzkill for people who thought that Randy was on fire. But it's got to happen. It's just, you can't have him beat the Fiend. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. So now we're just talking about how fast should it be. I don't believe a Fiend match should be 15 minutes. I don't believe that. Hell, I don't even see why his matches would be 10 minutes. That's some of the worst stuff that they could do with the Fiend, is have his matches be really long. What is the benefit to that? There's no benefit to that. Unless he's fighting Undertaker or Kane or something, or somebody else with some supernatural powers, or a cinematic match or something like that. We really don't need a 15-20 minute Fiend match. So he's probably going to beat Randy Orton in 10 minutes, which is fine with me. So I'm cool with that. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll talk to you guys later.
I can paint the dawn with the sunrise. I wish I could